Hello and welcome. I'm Monika, an intellectual property professional with over 10 years of experience in the field of IP. So, till now, I have handled more than 1,200 copyright applications and more than 400 trademark filings. So, my goal here is to simplify the practical aspects of intellectual property and to bridge the gap between the theory and the real world application. So, without wasting any more time, let's get started. If you have ever written something, suppose a story, a song, or a piece of coding, or if you have ever come up with a business idea, a product, or a brand name, then today's video is directly for you because there is a whole area of law that exists for one reason, that is, to protect the things that come out of your mind. So it's called intellectual property. And over this series, we are going to break it down completely without any legal technical language and no boring textbook language, just a clear and practical knowledge that you can actually use. So, today in episode 1, we are starting about the basics. So, what is intellectual property and why does it exist? And what are the four big categories you need to know? So, let's get into it. So, this is episode 1 of our IP Essential series, and by the end of this series, you will have a solid grip of one of the most important and most overlooked areas of law. So, here's what we are covering today. First, I will tell you exactly what intellectual property means in plain English, and then we will talk about why it matters, not just for big corporations, but for regular people like you and me. After that, I will give you a bird's eye view of the four main types of IP. We will look at the real world examples and things you interact with every single day. And finally, I will wrap up with the key takeaways and give you a preview of what's coming up in episode number 2. So, all right, let's get with the story. Now, think that you spent 2 years of your life writing a book. You wake up early, stay up late, pour your heart into every single page, and finally you publish it. And then, 6 months later, you find out that someone has taken your book, copied it, changed the name and the cover, and selling it online like making money from your work. So, how does that make you feel? Angry? Helpless? Now ask yourself, what can you do about it? Do you have any rights? Is there any law that protects you? Well, the answer is yes. And the area of law that protects you in that situation and in hundreds of other situations like it is called intellectual property law. Your creation, your rights, that's the core idea. So let's understand it properly. So, what is intellectual property? The official definition is creations of the mind, given legal protection so the creators can benefit from their own work. So let me break that down into three parts. The first word is creation. So this is not about physical property like a car or a house or a land. This is about something that comes up from your imagination, your thinking, and your effort. So an invention, a book, a logo, a formula, or a piece of software, it falls into the creation part. The second part is the protection. Governments around the world recognize that these mental creations have value. So they pass laws for that, like legal frameworks. So this belongs to you, and others cannot use it without your permission. And the third part is benefit. So because you created it, you get the right to decide how it's used so that you can sell it, you can license it, You can stop others from copying it and make money from it ultimately. So now here's an important distinction. Like normal property, suppose your phone or your house, it's an tangible property. So you can touch it, but intellectual property is intangible. You cannot touch an idea, you cannot hold a melody in your hand, but it can still be incredibly valuable, sometimes more valuable than your physical object. So let us understand, why does intellectual property matter? Now you might be thinking, okay, this matters for big companies and celebrities, but why should I care? So let me give you four reasons for this. Number one is the IP rewards creativity. Think about it. If anyone could just copy your work the moment you created it, why would you bother creating? Why would a musician spend months of recording an album if someone could just steal it the next day? That's why IP protection gives the creators the security to invest time and effort into something new. The second is IP drives innovation. Companies invest billions of rupees and dollars into research and development because they know that if they invent something new, they can protect it. So if we remove the protection, so ultimately we remove the motivation also. The third point is IP builds economies. This might surprise you, but intellectual property intensive industries contribute an enormous share of GDP in every major economy, like software, pharmaceuticals, entertainment, branding. These all are the IP driven industries. In India alone, this sector is rapidly growing. The fourth point is one which is often overlooked. Intellectual property actually encourages sharing. Here's how: patents and copyrights expire after a fixed period of time, and after that, the work enters what we call the public domain, meaning anyone can use it freely. So, intellectual property is not about locking things away forever, it's about giving the creators a fair window of protection after which the society benefits. Now we will move on to the four types of intellectual property. Now let's talk about the four main categories of intellectual property. So we are keeping this as an overview today, and each type we will get its own full episode in this series. Number one is copyright. The C symbol. This protects original creative works like books, music, films, paintings, photographs, and software coding. The great thing about copyright is that it is automatic. The moment you create something original, you have copyright over it. So you need not to register it. But registration helps if you ever need to prove it in court. Protection typically lasts 60 years after the creator's death in India. Second thing is trademark. That is the TM symbol. So the trademark protects the brand identity like names, logos, slogans, and even sounds. So when you see that swoosh logo, you think about Nike. So that association is protected by trademark. So trademarks can be renewed forever as long as you keep them using. The third comes patent. This protects inventions. So in patents, the inventions are protected like new products, processes, technical solutions. So if you invent a new type of battery, a new drug, or a new machine, you can apply for patent. It gives you exclusive rights for 20 years. And after that, anyone can make your invention. Think of it as a deal with society. You disclose how your invention works, and in return, you get 20 years of exclusivity. The fourth is trade secrets. So, this is the most interesting one. So, no registration is needed in trade secrets, no disclosure, you just keep it a secret. The most famous example, which I will get into a moment, is Coca Cola's recipe. which is kept a secret for over 130 years. And as long as the secret is maintained, the protection is unlimited. So, four types, four different tools. Depending on what you have created, one or more of these might apply to you. Next, we will move on to the real world examples. Let's make this concrete with examples you already know. Let us take the Harry Potter example. The Harry Potter, the books, in which the books, the characters, the stories, these all are protected by the copyright. So J.K. Rowling and now her publisher owns those rights. That's why a movie studio can't just make a Harry Potter film without a license. The second example is the Apple logo. That bitten apple, that's a trademark, and it's one of the most recognized symbols in the world. Apple has registered it, and no other company can use a similar logo in tech space. The third example is the touch technology inside your iPhone. The way your screen responds to your fingers, that's protected by patents. Apple holds thousands of patents on the hardware and software in their devices. The fourth example is the Coca-Cola's recipe, as I mentioned before. The exact blend of flavors that makes Coke taste like Coke, that's a trade secret. So Coca-Cola choose not to patent it because patents expire. Instead, they have kept the formula as a trade secret since 1886, and nobody outside a tiny circle of people know that exact recipe. So the four real examples, four different types of intellectual property, and all the things you interact within your daily life. Now, so these are the few key takeaways. So before we wrap up, let's lock in the five things I want to talk about you. Number one is intellectual property is legal protection for creations of the mind. Number two is that it covers inventions, brands, creative works, and business secrets. Third is the protection exists to reward creators and fuel innovation in society. Fourth, there are four main types of intellectual property, that is, copyright, trademark, patent, and trade secrets. Fifth, and most importantly, intellectual property affects your daily life. The app on your phone, the music you listen to, the brands you buy, all of this runs on intellectual property law. Now you might be thinking, I'm not a big company, I'm not an inventor, so does this really apply to me? Well, it absolutely does. If you are a student, a freelancer, a content creator, or a small business owner, understanding intellectual property can protect your work and help you avoid accidentally infringing on someone else's. And both of these matter. Now, in our episode number 2, we will be going deep into copyright. We will cover exactly what copyright protects and what it does not. We will talk about how long it lasts, what happens when it expires, and the common mistakes the people make, like assuming everything on the internet is free to use. So, trust me, episode number 2 is going to change how you look at every piece of the content you consume online. If you found today's video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and it helps more people to find the series. Hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss episode number 2 tomorrow, and drop a comment below. I want to know, have you ever had your work copied or used without permission? Let me know. See you tomorrow. Take care.